Alright everybody, so here's a little tutorial on how we're going to lay out one of these cones, just at a maybe more concise step-by-step process. So we're going to keep it really simple. The first thing we're going to do is draw our cone from the side. That's step one. So we're just going to draw the cone that we want, then we're going to sweep the circumference of it, and then we're going to cut it out. And that's actually as simple as it gets, and when you break it down like that, it seems a lot less daunting. So we're going to start out by drawing that 90-degree. Again, I have this little square here. This part does not need to be perfect. You can use pretty much anything. I'll try and do it with this here white pencil. Remember, we're starting with more of a T, because I just want that bottom plane that the vessel is going to sit on, and then a vertical that's going to bisect both halves of my vessel. So I'm going to make this as simple as we can. So we'll do the 4-inch wide base. So off of the center line, I have that on my 2 mark, and I'm going at 0 and 4. That's going to give me a 4-inch wide base. That is 2 inches from the center line. I'll go 6 inches up. Just going to mark that. And then I'm going to mark that again in another spot, just so I can draw a line that goes horizontal to my piece. So we should have 2 parallel lines and something in between it. That gives me a good time to mark out the top of my cone, which at this point I'm going to do is 2-inch wide. And now all I have to do is go ahead and connect those, and it's going to go right up to my center line that I've drawn originally. Something like that. And we'll do one more. No problem. So now I've got my side profile of my cone, and because we've drawn it in this fashion, we have our little convergence point on our center line that's down the center, and now we can use that. So again, I can sweep that with, say, some trammel points, which I don't even think are actually going to be long enough in this case, or I just use a piece of string with a pen on it, or I can use a scrap piece or a ruler that I've taped my drawing utensil to. And I'm just going to touch this like so, and then go ahead and sweep that around. And again, I don't know how far I really need to sweep that around. I know I don't have to go more than a half circle or so on something like that. But then with the larger one, let's see how close we can get to this. Just might work if we flip this bad boy around. And if it doesn't, maybe we'll draw it like that anyway. Oh, look at that. It appears that's exactly what we needed. So I'm going to scribe that one around as well. Just making sure I got a nice deep line in there. I know that's probably pretty difficult to see, but I can see a nice sweep over this way. And then I'm going to just round up here, and when I'm going to decide how far I need to draw this up, remember we're taking the width of the bottom times pi. That's the simplest way to do it. That's the diameter times 3 or times 3.14, however particular you want to get. For this one, we're just going to keep it pretty simple. I'm just going to say 12. So again, the easiest way to do that, again, you can do this with your ruler or with a set of dividers, but I'm going to set my dividers to 1 inch, and I'm going to accomplish that 12-inch sweep just by incrementally moving these 1 inch at a time. And again, why that's important is because if I try and just draw a line from point A to point B, a lot of this curve that's here is going to be lost. That's a longer distance than my point A to point B in a straight line. So by doing it in a smaller amount like this, it makes it just a little bit easier. So let's count them off. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to make sure that one stays in there pretty good, and I'll even draw a little line so I don't forget. Especially on the tar paper, it's kind of hard to see after a while, and you can lose track of exactly where we're trying to mark. So I'm just going to give this pencil just a little bit of a sharpen here, freshen it up. The other bad part about the tar paper is with something like a white colored pencil, kind of gums it up a little bit. You can see that on my knife here. It's just from cutting through it, it's kind of like brown, tarry mess. Now once we are here, we're going to find, using that same convergence point that we started with when we drew our actual cone, I am going to use that and draw it to the point that we just found across our arc. And the beautiful thing about that is it already maps out the top one for us, so we only really do the bottom one because that'll be proportionate to the actual angle that we've made this. So at this point, we've done pretty much everything we need to do. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. Again, scissors is kind of easiest. This is paper. The tar paper doesn't love to be cut on curves with just a knife. But if you're doing this, make sure your knife is nice and sharp. Again, most accidents happen with a dull blade versus a sharp one. So I'm hearing that sound of me touching the bench. I know I'm all the way through. And I'm just going to semi-carefully go ahead and cut this all the way through. I'll do that twice. I don't like when I'm trying to tear it, especially if I'm going to use this as a template to draw with right on a piece of steel. I don't really like to have to clean up all these frillies on there. It's much easier if you just cut straight through nice and clean. So there's that. One more pass through it, make sure it's all severed, and voila. So we've done it. Now just by taking a little bit of forming, I can see that this cone is exactly what I want. So again, remember, just start off with drawing your little crosshairs, lay out the side profile of your cone, sweep your circumference, and then go ahead and cut it out. And then that is our template. We can trace this on a piece of steel and go ahead and make as many of those as we want. So thanks for watching, good luck, and I will see you guys a little bit later.